Are people now finally waking up to the fact that Reform UK is a deepfake safety valve operation? 100% establishment. I can just hear the gasps of horror from their deluded, loyal groupies. How can this possibly be so? Nigel was sent here by a divine power to save us all from ourselves. Yeah, not doing a very good job of saving them from themselves, is he? So the latest furore surrounds the commentary of Dr. David Bull. What's he a doctor of? Stupidity? Or liberalism, in actual fact? My goodness, you know, we're a nation of immigrants. Immigration is the lifeblood of our nation. It's just like listening to the Labour Party, isn't it? Or is it Hope Not Hate? You know, that organisation Farage has been colluding with since 2010, and his predecessor Alan Sked was doing so well back to 2008. Come on, you know, if people can't wake up to the fact that Farage and Ty, you know, are just establishment boys, Thatcherite Tories, quite frankly, on the make, then they never are going to learn. So Farage told the Winston Marshall show he's not concerned about white people becoming a minority by 2066 or any other year in actual fact. And he needs to embrace Islam because apparently we can't win without it. Who's we? Who is we? Does he mean Reform UK or does he mean the British people? I mean, the man never clarifies anything because he does more U-turns than a driving instructor. And then, of course, we had Richard Ty's and his notorious comment last week that, well, you know, I'll be long gone before whites become a minority in this country. It's the cavalier contempt for our future and for future generations that should concern people. And this is why absolutely no one should vote for deepfake Reform UK. I do that as in inverted commas, reform. There'll be no reform under this so-called Reform UK because they're not committed to reform, not in the slightest. And everything they say on immigration, which is by now the most driving factor in our political life, proves that they cannot be trusted in any capacity on immigration. The immigration policy as it is, one in, one out, is replacement migration. 600,000 Brits leave the country to be replaced by 600,000 non-white immigrants. That is replacement migration. You know, there is no counter argument to it. It is just fact. And so when people react with or recoil in horror at the words of Dr. David Bull, why? Why recoil in horror? I mean, have people not been paying attention? Well, I suggest people pay attention to this fact. What we really need in this country, in fact, every country in Europe needs exactly the same thing, is remigration. That's right, remigration. We need to send them back. The exact number will be determined at a later date. In fact, Kenny Smith, the leader of the Homeland Party, will be coming onto this channel later this month to explain his party's specific remigration policy and the exact numbers of people that they intend to send back. But Farage, Ty's and David Bull, well, who are they going to send back? Who are they going to send back, quite frankly? Farage has already said he doesn't want to do mass deportations of illegal invaders coming across the English Channel. And then he's contradicted by saying, oh, we're going to deport them all. Nothing the man says can be taken seriously. He's been like this for years. His groupies really are truly deluded. That much we've proven many times in actual fact. And every time Farage opens his mouth and Ty's, and joined by now Dr. David Bull, it proves the fact that Farage and deepfake reform can never be trusted on immigration. So who can be trusted on immigration? Well, as far as I'm concerned, only a party fully committed to remigration and actually stopping the boats can be trusted. And there has to be a twofold policy before remigration can be initiated. We have to leave the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, which deepfake reform and Farage, they won't do, a fact which they've made perfectly clear, because immigration is the lifeblood of our nation, apparently. We're all immigrants, okay? That's the most obvious Marxist argument put forward by these deepfake reformers. And so the remigration policy in itself can only begin when we've left the UN Refugee Convention and also the ECHR. Not that the ECHR actually matters at all, in actual fact, as we can leave that organisation quite simply. It has no powers of enforcement. We needn't worry about any judgment passed in the ECHR. Okay, they could expel us. Well, wouldn't that actually be a very happy day if we were expelled from the so-called Council of Europe, which has been totally and utterly taken over by the liberal left, by globalists, utterly committed to the destruction of Europe and European culture, and painting all white people as terrorists for daring to oppose mass immigration. So, I'll say this. The simple truth is, we need remigration, and we need strong leadership, and we need consistent commentary. Not one contradiction after the other, one contraindication, one U-turn after the other, until people are so dizzy they actually feel that they're in a car with a driving instructor teaching them one thing only, the art of U-turn. And that is all Reform UK is offering people, the art of U-turn. But I'm bringing Kenny Smith onto this channel to show people that hopefully, quite frankly, there is another party with a leader who isn't into a massive U-turns, because I can never follow people who do U-turns. I'm sure you can't either. Some people can, because they're just not in touch with reality and they don't pay attention to what people say. Some of them don't even care, quite frankly, because they're so caught up in their quasi-hero worship. It's the same with Tommy Robinson's fanboys and fangirls. You know, these people aren't in touch with reality at all. We need mass remigration to solve this problem. And the only way mass remigration can succeed is if we halt all immigration completely for a minimum of 5 to 10 years, because we will never be able to succeed in any remigration policy unless we do halt immigration for 5 to 10 years. A moratorium for 10 years maximum, after which it can be reviewed and we can actually understand if there is a need for any form of legal migration into the country from Europe only, and the United States and Australia, New Zealand, Canada, etc. You know, people who are culturally similar and assimilable. And so this is why we need remigration, and I fully support it, and I propose it to the nation, and I ask everyone to get behind it and to walk away from reform. This argument that there is no one else is absolute nonsense. We know perfectly well that there are alternatives. You've just got to seek them out. And that's the problem with the British, is that they become so lazy, so dependent on what the mainstream media throws at them, i.e. deepfake reform is being thrown at them around the clock by the mainstream media. It's a fact that even many media commentators now are even complaining about, that there's just far too much coverage of deepfake reform. And the reason why is because they're a safe pair of hands, they're establishment, they're not really going to change anything, they're just going to do some tinkering. What we want is genuine, widespread, meaningful, permanent reform that changes this country for the better. And one of those things that can do it is remigration.